his book about his reminiscences of the war, he said, and this is important, there have been only a handful of days since the beginning of time on which the direction of the world has been changed forever in one 24-hour period by an act of man. June 6th, 1944 was one of them. So we must never forget. We always say thank you to our D-Day and our World War II veterans. Your achievements and sacrifices are not forgotten, as witnessed by the crowd here this morning and to all of those watching us online now. Later, we will specifically recognize the D-Day and World War II veterans who are here with us. Their presence, along with each of you in the audience, represents several generations, evidence that that legacy lives on. To all the other veterans in the audience, thank you for your service. As we recognize America's 250th anniversary this year, we're grateful for the men and women who have served this nation for the last 2.5 centuries. Your presence enriches us all and serves as a living connection to the history we preserve and the values of freedom that we cherish. We owe a debt of gratitude to all veterans, past and present, who answer the call. Their sacrifices, whether in peace or in war, safeguard the freedoms we enjoy today. For our attendees watching us live, remotely, you also honor us. And you honor the men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice in World War II, and you also honor those who lived to fight, serve, or contribute to the war effort in 1,000 different ways to ensure victory during the war. Thank you for being here as we recognize their accomplishments, their service, and their sacrifice. Our next speaker this morning knows quite well the meaning of service and the meaning of sacrifice. We are honored to hear from him. And while it is tradition that we do not introduce speakers, I will anyway. I would like to point out that Drew Dix is a recipient of our nation's highest award for valor. His extraordinary courage and leadership during the Vietnam War exemplify the selfless service and devotion to duty that have characterized generations of service members. His book, The Rescue of River City, is where he gives the story, the true account of a 56-hour battle during the 1968 Tet Offensive in Vietnam, that which earned him the Medal of Honor. And we're honored to have him here today. Please welcome Drew Dix.
Thank you, General, and thank all of you. So thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this tribute to those that made sacrifices for this great country, and especially on that special day. But I think your greatest tribute is this preservation of this memorial, the D-Day Memorial. You know, I'll be honest, I didn't know it was here until just a little while ago when I asked to come. But then I heard people say, well, why is it not in Washington, D.C. or someplace like that? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's appropriate to be here. It's the only place that it needs to be. This is where it is so close to home that you carry that tradition of remembering those from the families that made those sacrifices. You know, that stormed those beaches years ago. And I'm a benefit of their bravery and their sacrifices. Now, I can't talk about how it was then, but I can darn sure talk about how it was to lead young men, draftees, in combat. And I want to talk just briefly about this. And the one thing that resonates in my mind that I remember those days leading those young men who really didn't want to be there, that performed such great deeds on a daily basis. And how simple life was in the 60s. And can you imagine the difference in the 40s? Materialistic things were just not available. And I'd like to tell you a little bit of a story about one of my members of my company in Vietnam, 101st Airborne Division. Now, we didn't know much about our men then. It was the nature of that war. But let me tell you, if some of you that are in the military have heard about the AFES catalog, Armed Forces Exchange System. And those young men didn't have much, but evidently they were studying that, reading that for what they might be able to acquire on their way back to the world, as they said. And this one soldier who fought bravely, and he was laying on the battlefield. And I got a hold of him. The medic hasn't gotten there. And I ripped off his rucksack and his shirt covered in blood and trying to get to see where the wounds were. And at that moment, I knew more about that individual than anyone could have told me, because he had this AFES catalog. And in that catalog were something for sale. They were watches. Seiko watches had just come out, and they were yellow, red, and blue face. And all I knew about that young man is he wanted a yellow-faced Seiko watch when he came home. Think about how simple life was in those days. What was he fighting for? He was fighting for those along his side. And when I look at from the position of the defenders on that day, and look at it, look at those concrete placements, well built, constructed. I'm sure those German soldiers didn't realize that they were about to lose the war. How could those coming off, those ships approaching them right now, deal with what we had there?